Jeff, I wanted to ask, the Malaysian Air flight disappeared. Was that the impetus of an idea of thinking what would happen if that plane was found and then, making great drama around it, or was something else?
That flight actually has a pivotal role in my story, but the truth of the matter is, I thought of this idea almost 10 years ago,
Really?
driving in a minivan with my family to the Grand Canyon, thinking about family, togetherness, separation. The big idea hit me. I pitched it around. Nobody wanted it. And then 7 years later, Malaysian Airlines happened, and suddenly my crazy idea felt a little more real, a little more relatable. In the context of Malaysian Air, suddenly people were interested.
And you've done a lot of procedural dramas, a lot of character dramas. How much of it is the mystery of what's happened versus the real repercussions of what happens to the people?
The event mystery, I would say, it's a good portion of the show, but it's probably less than half the show. The relationship drama, the family, brother and sister here, that's kind of the gooey center of the show.
Josh and Melissa, who your characters are and what, when we initially start with the pilot, is the dynamic that goes on between the two of you and with this event.
So yeah, Ben and Michaela are very, very different, opposite ends of the spectrum. Ben's a little bit more scientific, a lot more scientific, and Michaela's a bit more of the free spirit, black sheep of the family. And so when they, come back from this event, they approach the mystery of it very differently, but through that end up working together to figure out what's going on.
They're siblings, they're the best of friends and the best enemies that you can imagine. And, but they, at the heart of it, have a deep, deep love and respect for each other and care for each other very much. It's about a very normal family dealing with something very extraordinary.
Yeah, which is always where you kind of dig in and find some really good story beats. And you were on Once Upon a Time for a long time. You were long committed to a TV series. When you're looking at, do I want to go back into a commitment that could be really long again? What about this story felt like, yeah, this is a worthy experiment to go and jump in and maybe be attached to for a long time again?
For me, it was all about the writing, the concept of it, the idea of a second chance, the idea of what are the choices you make when that happens, if that happens. And the character of Ben, I was intrigued by his mind. I was intrigued about how he worked. He's very different from myself. He's very different from Prince Charming. He's a complex and flawed individual. Just the idea of this family man coming back to a world that looks the same but is completely different. He's a stranger in this new land. He's an alien of sorts, and family relationships are very complex, so he's going to try to figure that out along with this mystery that is happening.
Jeff, are you kind of framing it so that every episode we get tastes of the core ensemble, or is there going to be some fun structures where maybe one episode will just, travel with one character for the hour? Or what's felt good for you from a storytelling point?
We're trying to keep all of our strands alive each episode. There's one episode coming, spoiler, around episode 5, maybe exactly episode 5, that will be very heavily focused on backstory, origin story. There's a flashback component to the show that you don't pick up in the pilot because we're busy kind of setting up our current world. But each week, episode for episode, we're trying to kind of dip into 3 storytelling buckets. There's the event mystery about the missing airplane. There's actually a procedural component to the show because each week there'll be a closed-ended mission of sorts that typically will involve both of them. Sometimes it'll be just one or the other. And then the third component is, of course, the relationship drama. I think that's what people are going to come back to every week, first and foremost.